From the creators who brought you RuPaul's Drag Race and $1 Million Listing, this is World of Wonder's Wow Report. Things that make us go wow.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's edition of the Wow Report, where we count down the top 10 things of the week that make us go
wow.
I'm co-founder of World of Wonder, Fenton Bailey, joined by our Chief Creative Officer, Tom Campbell.
Hello, hello, hello.
And filling in for best-selling author and host of the Wow Podcast Network, James St. James himself, filling in for himself.
What? You weren't coming and now you're here, so you're filling in for yourself.
Filling in.
Well, I just like the idea of popping in and feeling special.
Well,
I know you
our
do.
special guest, James St. James. We're so lucky to have
Thank you.
And of course, our producer, Blake Jacobs. This week we have a very special guest, Annie Jacobsen, author of Nuclear War, A Scenario, and we'll be connecting with her a little bit later in the show. But first, our very special guest, our very, very, very special guest. We're so lucky to have him. We're so glad he's here. James St. James, number 10.
Number 10.
Thank you so much. I watched last night Secrets of the Octopus on Hulu, which is also on National Geographic and Disney. And I watched it because I thought for sure, Fenton, I remember you were very Octo obsessed for a while there.
I am Octo obsessed, and I was just trying to make Elliot this morning at breakfast read National Geographic. Completely failed because he was just like, I want to play with my iPad. But there's an octopus moment again.
Well, this is sort of the same thing. It's a marine biologist in Australia, and she befriends an octopus named Scarlet who lives on the Great Barrier Reef. And they become very close over the course of a year or whatever. And right there, though, you have your Emmy-winning moments because the Great Barrier Reef is probably the most beautiful place on the planet. And every shot is just cinematic, just gorgeousness. It's like you just are sucked right in from the moment you see this octopus. And then you have the absolute lunacy of octopuses. Are they aliens? Are they smarter than us? Are they trying to take over the planet? What is their agenda? What are they all about? Everything about them is just bizarre. How the Scarlet just changes shape and changes color. And she's colorblind. She doesn't know what a color is, but she just changes color. In 1/5 of a second, she changes her entire, everything about her. It's absolutely crazy. But sort of the weird thing that starts to happen right off the bat is that there's this like projection and anthropomorphizing of the octopus, where all of a sudden the narration, the voiceover is like, is Scarlet dreaming of me the way I dream of her? Is she thinking of me as I think of her? And, is she still upset? Is she still thinking about the encounter with the nurse shark last week? I think she is. And like, they sort of like put all of this stuff on Scarlet that I don't know that Scarlet is actually thinking. But it's only 3 episodes, and the episodes are sort of short. So it's, I think Elliot would love it. I think no one would go bananas. I know you, Fenton, will absolutely love it.
Did you cry? Did it make you cry?
No, but I did walk away feeling like Scarlett and I would be friends if we ever met. Like that we would be like club buddies or something. Because Scarlett actually sort of has a sassy little personality. And then you meet some other octopuses. There's the only octopus that is like venomous that can kill humans. And it's like a blue ring. It has like these neon blue rings that light up in the dark. It's very fascinating. Do
you think they are aliens?
I do. Well, I think the dolphins and the octopuses are working together. They're in cahoots. And did you ever read Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy? The Douglas Adams books? Never did. Nobody has read them. Oh my! Well, one of the books is called "So Long and Thanks for All the Fish," and it's that the dolphin are actually in charge, and at the end they sort of beam up to their to a spaceship, and they say "So long and thanks for all the fish." And I think that the octopuses are probably smarter than us and are out to take over the world.
Right. So that's Secrets of the Octopus, right? That's the name of it. Streaming on Nat Geo or Disney, I guess, right? Disney Plus too.
Yes. Hulu.
And Hulu.
All packaged together now. It's one big
Yeah, dazzle off.
Moving on then to number 9.
Number 9.
I know we talk about this topic every now and then, but it's a moment in history, and season 16 of Drag Race ended on Friday. We found out during the week that it's beaten all these records for the finale, for its social, for season 16. There's so many people to thank for it. The cast, first and foremost, because they're so amazing and there was so much drama. You know, we tweaked the format a little bit so there was competition to the very last minute. Our queen, Nymphia Wind, was not necessarily expected to win at the beginning of the finale episode, but throughout the course of events that happened in that episode, she and Safira Cristal were in the top 2.
I do have to say that I don't think anyone suspected that Nymphia would go as far as she did. Each episode you were sort of like, you did a little double take at her as she sort of made her progress to the crown.
And her final lip sync, again, Safira, I should talk a lot about Safira because Safira gave us such an amazing season, is such an amazing queen. In any other circumstance, could have won. But that's what's so great about Drag Race at its best, that it's like a sports game because you just never know until the final whistle blows. But
and just a hell of a cast this season. I mean, every single one. I loved every single person
from the very beginning, and bringing everyone back for 11 and having to do that lip sync off. It reminded you of what a great cast it was. So that all happened. It's amazing. And then, as if just when you think you're safe to go back. Oh, I also saw it at Precinct, which I haven't been to, which is that club downtown where I think Blake lives. And I think
I was at the Eagle. Like I have been all the way. I would have shown up had I known.
And people are at high tops, and people all over the country, and people from New York were sending
videos.
But it is such gay Christmas. It's more than gay Super Bowl. It's gay Christmas, and it's so amazing to be with so many people. And I got to say, and this one guy who found out that I was a producer on the show, whatever, he came over and he was this grown man who, 12 years ago of his 17 years, he goes, "I'm from rural Georgia." He said, and this is like when I saw this show for the first time, I felt like I knew I belong, like there was a place for me. And it's just like, again, RuPaul, thank you for being the marketing genius and the superstar that you are to bring this all to life. But, it's so great that we have it and we get to celebrate it together. And on top of that,
were you just doing your Donald Trump moment where it's like, and a grown man came to me and said, "Sir," with tears in his eyes?
Yeah, I made that all up. None of this happened. I don't even know about anything about that race. I don't even watch.
He said,
so,
"Tom," he said, "Sir, you are magnificent for doing what you do."
Oh, I didn't want to come up that way. People come from someplace. I mean, this was not, why I say it was a grown man. It's like, this wasn't a kid to me. This was a grown man. And yet 12 years ago, he wasn't a grown man and he was in rural Georgia. And now he's at Precinct living his life. It's that we can reach each other, through the power of television, RuPaul's Drag Race. And we won't go deep into it. And you can look for yourself. But the cast of All Stars 9, Drag Queen Save the World, is been announced.
You're always too modest because you do such a great job. And the entire crew and team who work on the show do an amazing, amazing job. But I just want to show one tiny detail. The artwork for the reveal of All Stars is so delicious. It just makes me horny or inappropriate or something. I love it. I love it so much.
Tip our hats to the amazing crew at Paramount and who put that together. And everybody in this production, on the network side and the production side, the queens, everybody tries to make it better. Like every year we sort of tear it down and build it back up. And it's not like, oh, it's season 17, let's just do what we did last year. No, it's like it inspires the queens. I think inspires, and RuPaul inspires us.
Congratulations, Tom. Congratulations, everyone. And little humble brag. I mean, Tom, did you mention it's the biggest ratings? Like, I think the largest share ever. So
it's crazy. And RuPaul's Drag Race fans are the best fans in the world. I mean that.
Oh, absolutely. And if you missed RuPaul's Drag Race, of course, where do you watch it? You can go to Paramount Plus streaming in the US or internationally. WowPresentsPlus.com, where you can watch every version of Drag Race, the US version, the 17 international versions, untucked, and many, many more originals.
Do it. I dare you. I dare you. Do it. Watch them all. Do it.
Drag Race Andalusia.
Soon.
Drag Race Uranus. Number 8.
Number 8.
Taylor Swift, might have been aware, released a new album. Not one album, but 2. So I guess she waited till everyone had bought the first one, and then 2 hours later it was like, oh, here's another 15 songs. I mean, the marketing genius is amazing. But of course, after a incredible year, I suppose it's almost inevitable that there would be some out there talking about Taylor Swift fatigue, especially, not to single them out, the New York Times, who managed to get the name of the album wrong. They called it the Tortured Poets Society, which is, a bit of a mistake that they did in fact correct. But, it's a question for you guys. Like, can we have Tay much of a good thing? Tay much of a good thing?
I don't stay up late worrying about Taylor Swift. She's in charge. By the way, careers, everyone builds people up and then tears them down. That's kind of the trajectory of like why press has celebrities. But so many people, she broke records for people listening. I've not listened to it. What is the name of the album?
The actual name is the Tortured Poets Department.
Well, that kind of gives you a clue. It's going to be a lot of slow songs. People are like, it's all a bunch of slow songs. It's like, it's called the Tortured Poet Department.
I have heard that there isn't a single off of it that's radio worthy or top 10 worthy. That it's sort of a little dreary,
Well, but that's what people said about her 2 pandemic albums, Evermore and whatever, and there are still hundreds of fans of those. So that's all I'm saying.
It's just another era for our friend Taylor.
Exactly.
I love the fact that there are 20 different editions of this double album, 20 like vinyl iterations and digital iterations. The phenom alone, again, makes me start to get somewhat inappropriately excited. Number 1. And then number 2, she did this installation at the Grove, a sort of pop-up book thing.
I walked by it.
Yeah.
And
everyone's looking at it for clues and Easter eggs because they've got like tea-stained lyrics and typewriters and little clues and everything.
It was a literal mall kiosk. People were in line for a mile to look at a mall kiosk.
That's the way it should be.
That's hot.
I mean,
If there's an 8-track tape version, I'm getting it.
Yes, that's a great idea. Paste magazine wrote a negative review. There's been a few negative reviews that begins, best opening line of a review. Sylvia Plath did not stick her head in an oven for this. Which,
oh my God. So snobby.
And then, having put the byline on, they did a thing about how they were removing the byline of the person who wrote it for their safety. So on the one hand, just trying to make, just parasitically trying to make the story go.
Yes, clickbait, and then denying that it's clickbait. Yeah.
Okay.
I just want to share one thing that I think is that to me says it all about Taylor Swift, and it's an Instagram post. You know where I'm going with this. This is stop.
It's a map of Taylor's private jet rides for like the past year. And so it's like a video game, like ding, 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 ding.
It's completely addictive. I've watched it over and over and over again. And I guess for me, the takeaway was she has 2 jets. She flew around the world. It's the equivalent of going around the world 7 times, I think, something like that. Yeah. Just to say, she works unbelievably hard. And to me, like, okay, everybody can have their say about this and that and Taylor fatigue, but God bless her for...
We haven't gotten fatigued for 16 years now. She's been on top for 16 years and nobody... I think it would be sort of genius if she made like $10 billion and then just pieced out and we never saw her again. I think that would be the way to go, like do a Greta Garbo and like just be sort of like you'd see her, in a mat, a scarf and
in Central Park.
Yes, doing a Jackie O thing. I
think the magic thing about it is that she is in her prime and she wants to do all this.
She enjoys it, and we all get something out of it.
Yeah, so it's not like I have to make another album for whatever.
Right. All right. Let's take a break. Blake, have you got a question?
I sure do. What does SFGate, the website, say is one of the scariest airports in America, and why? It's in California.
We'll have the answer right after the break here on the Wow Report on Radio Andy.
You're listening to World of Wonders Wow Report. Things that make us go wow.
Welcome back to the Wow Report. I'm Fenton here with Tom and James, who's gotten off his
deathbed.
Well, I was feeling malaise, sweetie. Malaise. But you're here. That's the main thing. And Blake with a question.
Yes, and you just talked about Taylor Swift's jets. I am asking, SFGate, the website, says that this California airport is one of the scariest to take off from in America. What is it and why? You're never going to believe.
Probably, LAX is the scariest airport I go to.
You're terrible. Close. You're about 30 miles away.
I'm going to say Burbank because it's a steep incline and decline.
Oh, right by the mountain right there.
Close.
Okay,
Ontario.
Long Beach.
No, it is Santa Ana Airport, the John Wayne Airport, and it's because of the quick ascent. Yeah. But the reason is because of the rich assholes who live there and the politics. They don't want to hear the noise.
Can't
pollution,
fly over their house.
Yeah,
got it.
There you go.
There you go. All right. Counting down the top 10 things of the week that made us go wow, we've reached number 7.
Number 7.
On Saturday, went to see a play that is playing at the Geffen Playhouse, which you all must see. It's playing till May 11th, and it's called Fat Ham. This is the log line. Meet Juicy, a young queer black man with a Shakespearean-sized dilemma when the ghost of his dead father shows up at his family's barbecue wedding reception, demanding his murder be avenged. Sound familiar? Does the poetic and sensitive Juicy have it in him to do the deed, or will he be to thine own self be true? It's a retelling of Hamlet at a backyard barbecue at a black family, and it was something that it's Pulitzer Prize winning. It started at the Public Theater in New York in 2022. It went to Broadway in 2023, got some nominees, and all except for one member, the entire cast has transported to the Geffen. And these things can go very wrong. You know what I mean? Like Hamlet, backyard barbecue, but it is genius. It is there's an ensemble of actors. Nikki Crawford plays the mother. Marcel Spears plays the Hamlet, the Juicy guy. Everyone is exquisite, and it's inventive, and it's funny, and it reminds me of me. No, but I don't like to read. You guys know that. And so the way I got around it in the English class, because I'm a bit of a ham, a bit of a performer, I like to sing. So for group projects for English class, we'd have to sort of dimensionalize Romeo and Juliet or the Scarlet Letter. I was into sort of like late 50s bebop, early 60s girl group sounds. I've changed. And we would do like Hester and the Hesterettes, and we would sing like "Put Your Hand on."
Suddenly, all of Drag Race makes sense now. I mean,
Drag
all
Race,
the musicals, everything. Yes,
all of it.
Hester and the Hesterettes for the Scarlet Letter.
Jason and the Argonauts.
Oh, no.
Across the ocean looking for a golden fleece that was really hot. They were Jason and the Argonauts. So I don't mean to drag.
Are you still singing it every day in the shower?
If I think of it, I do.
Honey, I need a gin and tonic right now.
Yes.
Wait, is this a musical? The Ham and the Hamonette?
It has music in it because there's karaoke, but it's really a play with music. And it does end, I guess this is a spoiler alert, but this does end with a runway, a lit up runway. That's all I can say. Out of nowhere, a lit up runway, which, by the way, is World of Wonders' motto that everything is better with a runway, that every show should have a runway or at least a trapdoor. We like that too. But it's called Fat Ham. It's playing at the Geffen. It's better than Jason and the Argonauts.
It's not done in like iambic pentameter, or it's not done in a Shakespearean style.
No, occasionally they will lift some quotes. The Juicy character, and the same actor plays the uncle and the father. I do know the Hamlet story, but not that well because, I don't read that much. But you don't have to go and know about Hamlet. It's not pretentious. It's just the opposite. It's really involving. And again, wonderful cast, incredible actors here in Los Angeles. But to have the Pulitzer Prize winning Broadway nominated actors here at the Geffen Theater in Westwood is really a treat. And I can't recommend it enough to both of you. But you have until May 11th.
Go. Can't wait to go see it. That's Fat Ham. All right. Number 6.
Number 6.
Tesla just recalled 4,000 of their Cybertrucks. But I want to ask you guys, do you know how many Cybertrucks they've sold?
4,000?
3,878.
So
That's
according
according to you.
They sold. Okay, good.
Yeah, I don't know how that works. Maybe there's some sitting on lots at Tesla. I don't know.
Maybe some freebies. So maybe someone got one for free.
What do you guys think of the Cybertruck? I hate them. I
saw
like
them for the first time. I don't know if people are seeing them, but they're actually driving around LA as we speak. And I was going home down Sunset, and one pulled next to me. And I'm always guilty of like a radical design. Sometimes it takes a while to get used to it. This one, what's wrong is the whole truck is like, Disney. It's Disney Center. It's flat and thing. But the wheel beds are kind of half hexagons. And there's just big tires. Online, they kind of black out the wheel wells so they don't obscure. But in life, all you see are big, ugly tires and wheel wells on this bizarre, pointy thing.
It's brutalism, though, isn't it? It's a brutalist car.
But it feels like
you love brutalism.
It feels like a brutalist float on a semi truck. You know what I mean? It feels like a float. It doesn't feel like they have anything to do with each other. Like the tires are not brutalist. They're just.
Well, I just think that it's like a DeLorean, which looked futuristic at the time, but now just looks stupid. And I feel like it's not going to age well. There, I said it.
Electric car sales are down all over. He's dropped the price of Teslas in China and then around the world. Tesla stock is way down. They have let go people, lots of employees in Texas and lots of employees in California. It was not that long ago on this very podcast that Elon was kind of this wonderkind who we were like, oh my God, he has so many good ideas. How we were sucked into this $1 million.
I know. Debacle. I feel I'm being like
$1 million debacle.
Not shamed necessarily, but I have a Tesla.
You're an early adopter. What are you? Is it adapter or adopter?
An early adapter to shame. He's the first to be shamed in everything.
Another thing, and this is just piling on, nothing to do with this, but it's like, remember when cities were vying for Amazon centers and they were like Brooklyn, all these places were like slashing taxes, giving all this incentive. Supposedly the Amazon centers that were built are like laying people off. It's like they're not the economic boon to the area that they were supposed to be. So I don't know. Beware of billionaires. But
also 99-cent stores, they all have closed.
Yeah.
Well,
and the Express, the mall. But I said this to you. It's like Express is closing. So many of these retailers are closing. When's the last time you went to a store to buy clothing?
I go to Target. I love going to Target. I go to stores all the time.
Well, I used to love Express back in college, but it turned into something that's not the same. So.
Did you see
Target
today?
Has it together because are you buying groceries and clothes?
No. But did you just see the news today that every single Target in America is doing every single thing for sale is behind glass? Now you have every single thing is behind plastic.
Where?
At Target. Starting next year.
If I want to buy a T-shirt, it's behind glass.
Every
but that would just stop you going to the store because you can never find anyone to unlock the cabinet, right?
It's the death of Target is what it is. It's the death of retail.
I love it all online.
Yeah.
I did used to love going to stores and just spacing out, like wandering the aisles of the supermarket. It's one of my.
I still go to the Grove. I still do like Nordstrom's. I still go to Neiman's in Beverly Hills.
Do you go to the Beverly Center?
Well, I have gone to the Beverly Center recently. Yeah, I don't like it without the food court. I used to love going and shopping and then having lunch with my sister and that was always a fun little, day for me. But
Wait, it just doesn't have a food court anymore?
no food.
That's what's so bad about it. I remember, Fenton, years ago running into you and Randy at Fred Siegel on Melrose. And we were like looking at cashmere sweaters, and I was having some jeans. Like they were the first place to actually hem your jeans. And the guy who did it was it went a little bit high on the inseam. That's when I liked retail.
That's shopping when you can get a little extra feel.
Get felt up.
I thought that I always tell you to go to the Bev Center because they have, the Uniqlo there, which is just always so fun. But they also have the Warhol store. It is so much fun. They have a Keith Haring store, a pop-up Keith Haring.
I intend to go more than I do, but I'm, late at night scrolling on the Instagram. I've taken a sleeping pill and I buy all sorts of things. And they just arrive. And I'm like,
that was the most scattered or eclectic or comprehensive segment we've ever done. We talked about everything in known to man.
All right, well, let's move on then to number 5.
Number 5.
Cicada, I hardly know her. That's it. No, that's all I got. No.
Good night, everybody.
There is a rare double emergence of periodical cicadas with brood 19 and brood 13. Trillions of cicadas are about to emerge from the ground. And the last year this happened was in 1803.
Wait, I just thought it happened last year. I could have sworn we had a cicada thing last year as well.
James, 1803 feels like last year to me.
All 7 cicada species are going to be represented in this.
Oh, you mean so every year there's a different species that might come out?
Different kinds of species emerge, but then there are also these generational broods because the one brood comes out every 17 years, one brood every 13 years, and occasionally then they overlap. And then there's also this moment when all the species, they all ding, 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 ding. So like Taylor Swift's jet, they all emerge at the same time.
What will happen? I mean, will they just be crawling over every surface?
Trillions.
Where
do we have to worry?
Not so much here, I think, in the middle of America.
Not at the Grove, right?
No. And they but I did not know this. The cicada nymph spends it all this time, most of its life, underground. And then when the time is right, they suck juices out of roots and trees. And then when the time is right, and when the temperature of the ground a foot below the surface is 64 degrees, they climb up the nearest vertical object and become winged adults, having basically an orgy. That's all they do. They just fuck.
Now, is there nothing we can do to prevent this? Does it hurt the environment? Is there
no?
Why do you love Octopus so much and hate the cicadas? Why?
It's very good for everything, but there is a problem. The Massospora thing. It's a fungus. It's a fungus that infects them, and it floods the cicadas with amphetamines and psilocybin. Yes.
So can we be smoking them? Can we be?
What
can we
state
be
is this in again?
Wait,
you can eat cicadas, in fact, but you don't want to eat what they call flying salt shakers of death, because this fungus colonizes the lower third of their body, which is their genital region. The cicadas feel nothing; they're flying around, and this is so pervy. The males. The infected males pretend to be females to get other healthy males to come and attempt to mate. So it's just a giant orgy in which the Massospora are infecting in a zombie plague zombie cicadas. I mean, it's incredible.
So don't eat flying saucer of death cicadas or big blue octopi.
Yeah.
Yes.
Is this one of those situations where you're driving down the road and your windshield is just filled with you're just running into thousands of them at any given moment?
Hope you're not driving a moped.
Right?
That's why you need a Cybertruck to
cut right through it.
But they are incredible because you see their little shells after the nymphs have vacated their bodies, they leave this perfect exoskeleton clinging onto a palm tree, you know, that they'll climb up. It's really...
Oh, yeah. I used to, you know, that what they're talking about, James, growing up in Florida, right?
We didn't
Those
have
little, they'd be like stuck to trees.
I don't think so.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
I remember it. It was gross as hell.
I heard amphetamine in there at some point, and I had to tune out for my own sobriety. Sorry.
And isn't psilocybin like mushroom?
yes, I mean, how this fungus gets a hold of amphetamines and magic mushrooms to infect the cicada, it's fascinating, really is. I think all of life is some kind of outer space
Miracle.
alien miracle. There you go.
Frank.
Let's take a break. Blake, have you got a question?
I do. According to an appearance on Jimmy Fallon, Wild Celebrity Nicole Richie, her first dog was given to her by Prince. What was the dog's name? Hint, Prince named the dog.
We'll have the answer for you right after the break here on the Wow Report on Radio Andy.
You're listening to World of Wonders Wow Report. Things that make us go wow.
Welcome back to the Wow Report. Fenton here with James and Tom and Blake.
Hello, and I asked, according to an appearance on Jimmy Fallon, Wild Celebrity Nicole Richie got her first dog given to her by Prince. And Prince named the dog. What was the dog's name?
Darling Nikki.
I think it was just a symbol. It wasn't a word. It was just a symbol.
Purple.
1999.
Yeah.
What
is it?
Its name was God.
Dog backwards.
Yeah.
Oh, funny.
Oh. All right. Counting down top 10 things a week that made us go, wow, we've reached number 4.
Number 4.
Now, if you're paying attention, I went out Friday night to Precinct to see Drag Race. I went out Saturday to see a live play in a public at the Guffin Fat Ham. And then on Sunday, usually my day of rest, I went to downtown one more time to see our beloved Bianca Del Rio, the winner of RuPaul's Drag Race Season 6, which was 10 years ago, who since that win has been doing one thing, and that is touring her one-woman show from across the country, across the world. It changes, she changes it up every year. There's a new year. I went there. Jamie, her manager, assistant, Boy Friday is at the theater. It's there. We get in. I went with Brett McLaughlin. We get there. There's so many queens there, which I'll talk about in a minute, which is great. It's just like a family reunion kind of thing. And you sit there. Sherry Vine starts for her, who is, I've not been sleeping on Sherry Vine, but Sherry Vine, every time I see her, she brings me joy. She's hilarious. She does song parodies. Everyone talks about her hole, and that's fine with me. She was delightful. I get to talk to her afterwards. And then Bianca, I know you know this, but in the 10 years since Bianca has become world famous, people are canceled for saying rude things. She goes deeper than ever. You are awash in cancer jokes being directed at people in the audience who have cancer. There are jokes about, I can't even say the word she uses. It's hilarious. At one point, she made jokes about Latin people and said, "What? I'm half Hispanic." And then she licked her hand and wiped it on her shoulder so she would become So, I mean, again, out of context, we're canceled. Okay, goodbye. Thank you. Thank you for watching the last Wow Report. But it's such a healthy release. She's smart about it. She makes fun of herself. And Brett did something that Randy usually does. When I go to like a show with Randy, he's always like, whatever it is, like Cirque du Soleil or Vegas or a club, and he counts the seats and like, how much was our ticket? He's always figuring what the take was. And this is the one takeaway, which is not a takeaway, but it's just hilarious. Brett was like, wow, no overhead. It's literally like a table with a drink on it, a microphone, Sherry Vine, and purple lights. It's a genius show. It lasts 2 hours. It was at the theater at the Ace, which there's no more Ace. So I don't know if we call it anymore, but the United Artists Theater. And she continues to the US.
Ace? It closed?
There's no more Ace Hotel. The Ace Hotel has closed, but the theater's still open. But it used to be called the theater at the Ace Hotel.
Wait, all Aces, even the one like Palm Spring in New York?
I don't know that. I know the one downtown is closed.
The downtown one, yeah.
I'm pretty sure the one in Palm Springs is still open.
Okay.
Good. Because
Sorry. Let's keep going.
James is going there right after this, so he's like, "It better be open." I've got a whole bag of cicadas, and I'm ready to party.
Party, yes, woo!
That's all. We were talking about it. It was like, oh my God, she's been doing that for 10 years. Like, and you just one after another. And her audience is really eclectic, and they love it because we all want to say, we just want to cross the line and be a little naughty because you know, and somehow a drag. He always says like somebody who's like, got their penis in nylons can tell these jokes. It's like he's you can't take
Lady Bunny's syndrome. Yes.
So and I think Lady Bunny's coming out here in a bit too to with her show to LA, so we'll have to see that. But Bianca Del Rio, in the dressing room was Alaska and Monet and Mariah Paris Balenciaga and Jackie Beat, and it felt like a night. I couldn't stay too long because you have to pick up your car half hour after the show closes or they lock you in. But it was just a nice weekend, an echo of Friday night and just the drag world and how everyone is doing well for themselves and supporting each other, and I like that.
You could get your tickets at biancadelrio.com.
Oh, Dead Inside. This tour is called Dead Inside. Bianca Del Rio.
I've never seen Bianca, and I think that's a bucket list thing that I need to check out.
Next time we'll go together.
Okay, yeah, I'll hold you to that.
Also, with one of the, if Bianca had a jet and you would follow it, it would be ping, 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 ping. Like
she goes ding, 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 ding. Yeah, she goes because she like sweeps across the country. She's like the Midwest, the Michigan area.
Really hard, yeah. All right, number 3.
Number 3.
There is a speed train, the first in America, that is traveling from Rancho Cucamonga, which I just love to say, to Las Vegas, like in an hour or less. Just like, and you're there.
Why does it start in Rancho Cucamonga?
I just heard that this morning, and I love, like when I was watching game shows growing up. Yeah, she's a housewife from Rancho Cucamonga. I thought it was the best place on earth. It's where Jamal Sims is from.
I hope that they add another station because if it goes to Rancho Cucamonga, it's just going to go right past Los Angeles.
Well, how far away is Rancho Cucamonga?
Rancho Cucamonga is sort of toward the desert-ish.
Yeah,
so
but if
you still have to drive like 45 minutes or an hour to take
I figure I would just go visit Jamal's parents.
It's like an hour and 15 minutes from here. So, like
that's a little bizarre. That is bizarre.
My next hot topic is, have you guys heard of Snoafers?
What is that? They're shoes. They're silver shoes. I'm looking at silver shoes.
Yes. For those of you who are watching, I am sharing my screen. The New Balance has released. It's not a sneaker. It's not a loafer. It's a Snoafer. And this is what they look like.
It looks like a penny loafer. It has that little
old man shoe, sort of, but like in a silver.
Yeah. It's not attractive at all.
But with the sneaker sole,
it is Fentonian a little bit.
Oh gosh, here we go. It's a sneaker sole with a loafer body, right?
Exactly. And this was designed by, it's a Franken shoe. Let me just read what this article starts with. It says, it's the footwear equivalent of a spork, and no one knows what to make of it. New Balance's latest Franken shoe, the 1906 L. The L stands for loafer. It has grayed out mesh paneling and stabilizing sole, trademarks of the Centurion Sneaker Company's running shoes, but it lacks laces or even eyelets. The sneaker's bulky silhouette has been shaved down into a purist loafer.
I'm just going to go get some right now.
Anything that's a pull-on, especially at our age, is worth doing. What makes it not a Fenton shoe is because it's ugly, but it's not really ugly. No, because there's that brutalism. There is the croc. There is the kind of aggressively designed ugly shoe.
Aggressively ugly things, and he loves anything silver, and he loves anything.
That isn't aggressively ugly. That's just like a straight person ugly.
Well, I heard Fenton took a sleeping pill and accidentally ordered a Cybertruck last night.
Oh yeah, it's
probably not while he was asleep. If only he would buy a gift.
Well, that's all I've got for Hot Topic.
Oh my gosh. Mortified. All right, number 2.
Number 2.
Speaking of Bianca Del Rio, Dead Inside, have you heard of the dead internet theory?
No, I'm scared.
It's a conspiracy theory that the organic human activity on the internet will essentially die out and just be replaced by bot activity and automatically generated content. and that will
It
happen.
seems like that's already happening.
I think that already happened.
I got that feeling too. I was on Facebook last night, scrolling away, and there were the stories. I was like, is that true? That can't possibly be true. But they were so well done. And I was like, I've got to go to sleep. I don't know what's happening.
I keep getting posts that say that Roseanne show has beat The View and things like these crazy articles that look like they're kind of natural. And I go and I say, block this profile, and it just comes back to me in some other permutation.
But I keep finding that I click on a story, and the more I read it, the more I get that spooky feeling that it's not written by a real person, that it's all just chat GPT written, that everything now is
I also think I'm followed by AI people on Instagram, like good looking guys that are just like, they're so good looking, but I don't think they're real.
Yeah, I don't believe any picture that I see anymore is real.
There was a study in 2016, a security firm in Imperva, and I don't even know if this is real, but apparently it reported that bots were doing 52% of web traffic. That was the first time that automatic activity, exceeded human activity.
I find that my numbers decrease whenever they do a purge of bots. My numbers decrease by thousands and thousands.
Yes, they're latched onto us.
Do you think it might drive us off the internet? Like the sense that you're like, well, it's all fake, and
not if I have to make real friends and talk to people. No, I'll be interacting with the bots, I think.
As X becomes more and more toxic as we get closer and closer towards the election, and it's nothing but rage engagement is what they call it, where the algorithm purposely pisses you off to engage you into
enragement, engagement.
Yeah, but I'm still there. And like, I should be gone. Every fiber of my existence says, get away from this. And yet I'm still there. So I don't know that.
I hear you. I'm guilty as well.
Yeah.
There you go. That's the dead internet theory. So
not to be confused with the dead poets department.
Or Dead Inside Bianca Del Rio, or Cicadas infested by zombie parasites and funguses.
Haunted dead, so it's
there was an article that I'll forward it to you about how death itself isn't real, and that nothing ever is. It was a big new theory about how there is no death, and
that explains the traffic in LA.
But no, I do think this idea that you don't die, you just reboot. And you keep living.
You just take Sunset is what you do. You just get on Sunset and you slow everything down.
Well, this is a perfect way to segue to the number one thing on the Wow Report that made us go wow. When we reveal, it's sort of a little bit of a reveal. Very excited to welcome Annie Jacobsen, author of a book, Nuclear War, a Scenario. And we'll see whether or not death is real or not right after the break.
You're listening to World of Wonders Wow Report. Things that make us go wow.
Okay, welcome back to the Wow Report. I'm Fenton here with Tom and Blake. I'm very excited. We've been counting down the top 10 things of the week that make us go wow. And we've reached number one.
Number one.
And I am really so excited to welcome to the show Annie Jacobsen, author of one of the most terrifying books I've read. I was going to say this year, but actually I'm going to say of all time, scarier than a Stephen King book. Author of Nuclear War, a Scenario, which you talked about a couple of weeks ago here on the show. But Annie, thank you so much for joining us. Congratulations on an insane amount of rave reviews, and the fact that it is a bestseller in multiple countries, and the fact that you sold the film rights to Denis Villeneuve, if I'm saying it right, the director of Dune. So I'm just getting over Civil War, and now I can look forward to seeing your book as another terrifying film. But how did you come up with the idea to write this? And wasn't it a traumatic thing to do?
Well, and thank you for that intro. You left out that we used to be neighbors.
Well, I was going to say the most important shit.
But, I intend, with Nuclear War Scenario, I wanted to demonstrate to readers in appalling detail just how horrific nuclear war would be. I mean, not to date those of us on this podcast right now, but we all remember the 80s when this was kind of an issue. Not kind of, it was an issue. And where has it gone? What happened? Why is no one talking about it? When I first began reporting the book in COVID and doing these interviews with former secretaries of defense, the former commander of the U.S. nuclear sub forces, people like that who had a little bit of time for me during COVID. One of the reasons that people went on the record with me, they said, was, oh goodness, no one is talking about nuclear weapons anymore. And my God, now here we are in 2024, and it's terrifying, the rhetoric. I mean, world leaders are actually threatening the use of nuclear weapons. That's bananas.
It is terrifying detail. I mean, it is. I came across it. I think you wrote a sort of summary in the Daily Mail, and I was about 3 paragraphs in, and I was like, oh my God, I can doom scroll for hours, but I was compelled, appalled. It's just, no one's ever really laid it out before like this. How was it doing that for you, just as a sentient person?
Because Fenton's reading it, he's freaked out. Fenton's explained it to me. I'm freaked out. What was it like to research it and make it how long were you working on it?
Well, okay, so my previous 6 books all have to do with the military and intelligence. I've written about the CIA, the Pentagon, DARPA, Area 51, Nazi scientists. This is not my first rodeo in the national security world. But everybody is always talking about, and I'm talking about my sources, in all of these books, I dedicated my life to preventing nuclear World War III. That is a common refrain. And so during the previous administrations, that president talking, just in a manner I had never heard a president of the United States speak, threatening the use of nuclear weapons against North Korea, was shocking to me. And it made me think, my God, what if deterrence failed? Deterrence is just the big fancy nomenclature for prevention. That's the whole idea that the Defense Department runs upon, which is we have a massive arsenal of nuclear weapons pointed at all of our nuclear armed adversaries. Don't you dare think of using yours or we will all die. That's deterrence. And so it was like, okay, what if deterrence fails? How scary was that? I mean, you just put your reporter's hat on and you get really objective, really and truly, I mean, honestly, I have been much more upset reporting books about young soldiers who die in war. This is a speculative scenario, a hypothetical scenario. Yes, it's entirely based in fact. Yes, what happens at second 1 and second 10 and second 30, these are all fact-based sequential events based on the nuclear command and control system that has been in effect now for decades. But you have some objectivity when you're doing it.
Yes.
Aside from the horrific timetable, one of the things that sort of sticks out for me and that chimes with the times, and I think you're pointing to this, is the element of chaos or chance or accident or mistake. Was that something that you were aware of writing it, that this could all happen not unintentionally, but not intentionally?
Well, I think what you're getting at is how many things can go wrong. Right? Because you have this system of systems that is set up. This happens and then this happens. There are decision trees. But once you get into the reporting of it, you realize there are competing interests. I'll give you the best example I can think of. The President of the United States, I learn and report, is entirely in charge of launching nuclear war. He asks permission of no one. And I take the reader through the why and the how fast that happens. This 6-minute window is insane. And you have the Stratcom commanders wanting X, Y, and Z from you, and your SecDef advising you about this. And I've interviewed the people to find out what these scenarios would be like. And then you learn, wait a minute, there is a team of Secret Service agents whom I have interviewed for other books. Let's ask them what they would be doing. And then you learn, oh, they have a completely different mission. They need to remove the president of the United States from the White House, get him out of Washington if there is a missile strike coming in. And so suddenly you realize all that can go wrong. And you think of the guys, the Secret Service are the only guys in the room with very powerful weapons. So who do you think wins that draw? Like, no, keep him here. We need to know the nuclear launch. Or actually, we're going to remove him right now. Obviously, the Secret Service is going to win. The Secret Service CAT team, it's a very elite team of very armed people, counter assault team agents that would move the president immediately to an underground bunker outside Washington.
I grew up in 60s, 70s, under the shadow of duck and cover and all that, and it was a very present, a mutually assured destruction was a very present thing. Why did we stop talking about it? Why did it just go into the background?
And don't blame the Kardashians.
Well, this I do think happened a little bit before the Kardashians. Here's my take on that, right? When the wall went down, there was an idea, a sort of fantastical wishing idea that the threat was over, even though we still had these multiple thousands of nuclear warheads at the armed nations' disposals. But the idea was, okay, so we're no longer arch enemies with the Soviet Union. The Soviet Union doesn't exist. So then people began to forget. And things were forgotten for a long time. And certainly with the emphasis of the war on terror, this was sidelined. That it has all come to the fore again really should make people very, very nervous. And that's why I wrote the book.
And nervous, like I'm making a bad joke, but it's like, this has been Earth Day week. And so all the morning talk shows I watch are like things you can do to save the environment that they never talk about the rest of the year. What can we do? Because it's a feeling of helplessness, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. You don't just get terrified. Change comes from, I believe, communication, right? So here's my quick example. Back dating ourselves, 1983, there's a TV series on called The Day After, fictional nuclear war between the United States and then Soviet Russia. 100 million Americans watch this and we're horrified, just as you guys are all horrified by reading my book, Nuclear War: A Scenario. All these people were horrified. Guess who was also horrified? President Ronald Reagan, because he watched that film. He had a private screening at Camp David. And his advisors, by the way, said, no, we don't want you to watch it. He watched it. He wrote in his White House journal that he became greatly depressed. But that depression led him to communicate with Gorbachev. It led to the Reykjavik summit. And the world went from 70,000, that is right, 70,000 nuclear warheads in 1986, the all-time high, down to about 12,500 that we have today. There's no doubt that is progress. But we need to keep going in that direction, not in the direction we're going is suddenly, oh my God, the Iron Dome. We need an Iron Dome over the United States made up of nuclear weapons. This is insanity.
What is your next book going to be about? I tremble to ask, but like, are you working on the next thing already?
I withhold comment, Fenton. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I will come back on and tell you.
I have, as you said, we were neighbors for many years. I mean, like 15 years. In fact, Tia, our nanny, came from you, and like, it's just been amazing and inspiring to watch your career as a writer just take off. And you have kept up a steady stream of fantastic subjects like Operation Paperclip, Area 51, that sort of intersection of X-Files and the military. It's really just a juicy area. And you must at this point be really quite trusted by the military for them to reveal all their secrets to you.
The people that I meet along the way are so fantastic. I mean, last night I had two guys from the Space Force over for dinner because they were in town for a convention, right? And last week, I was in Brussels speaking to members of the European Parliament in the audience with a group of disarmament experts who asked me to come and talk about my book. And so for me, and thank you for the lovely words, but the real great takeaway for myself, and perhaps it can be passed along, is that if you can communicate with people on different sides of the aisle, people who might not otherwise normally mix, you wind up having a richer life for yourself. At least that's my feeling. And you can begin to see people as, oh, we might have differing ideas, but ultimately we're all just on this same planet, really trying to find some semblance of happiness and purpose in our lives.
Beautifully said. And thank you so much for joining us. And good luck with the book. I can wait to see the movie, but I can't wait to see the movie. And if you're listening to this on Radio Andy, go to our YouTube channel for an extended version of this conversation with Annie Jacobsen on her new book, Nuclear War, A Scenario. Thanks for tuning in and listening to the Wow Report here on Radio Andy Sirius XM. You can get previous episodes on our YouTube channel, Wow Presents. Same time, same place next week. Until then, go out and do something that makes the world go
Wow.